oh wait, no, I live in Oregon. The sun is not shining, it is 50 degrees outside, I am freezing, and it's going to rain for the next 2 weeks. So, which means it's a perfect time for a car news episode. Now, this will be the first one ever done in Oregon, so let me know. Maybe when I change states and move from Florida to Oregon, maybe like my brain changed, and maybe I'm not going to be the same. Let me know in the comments. Now, news has been short, but also a lot. What I mean by a lot is the garbage news. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're updating this vehicle, and it's not something big like the Corolla or something huge. It's always like the Kia EV9 is getting fog lights on the, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of those kind of articles, but there's no heavy hitters like we had last week. You know, with Jeep, Dodge, Ram, closing retirement, all that crap that we had last week. Not really going to be here this week, right? So, Honda is recalling 1.7 million cars with potential steering rack issues. The issues affect the Honda Civic cars and the newer CR-V and HR-V with Acura Integra models as well. Essentially, the steering racks aren't good, and they need to replace them and recall them. So, yeah. Astounding, right? 2025 Taos has a new look, more horsepower, and starts at $26,000. Essentially, the Volkswagen is in a very dark place right now. They almost had the choice of going bankrupt or firing union workers and cutting costs. Right now, they're still kind of in between that decision, and so they need something. Their sales are falling, they're not looking good. They're losing their place as one of the biggest car manufacturers ever, and that's not good for them. So they needed to update one of their best-selling cars, which is the Taos, and also starts at $26,000, which is incredibly competitive with other things compared to what you're getting, right? Keep in mind, this isn't like a Corolla Cross or an HR-V competitor. This is more of a RAV4, CR-V competitor. So those both start at around $29,000. I know the RAV4 starts $2,000 more. And, yeah. So it's just going to be good that they're finally going to have something that looks modern and is competitive again, rather than them just kind of sitting on their legs for forever. So, yeah, nice to hear. After a very, very rough year, Stellantis' CEO will retire amid executive shuffle. Carlos Traverez is essentially, he's not the complete reason. Remember, there are thousands of leaders, in Stellantis that are not just Carlos Traverez, but he approved a lot of this crap. And Jeep, Dodge, Ram, sales are falling, prices are skyrocketing, sales are falling. And so, yeah, he's, at the end of 2026, when his contract ends, he's getting booted from the company, and he will not return. So, womp womp. Now, in my previous episode, I ridiculed Jeep a little bit for canceling the Jeep Cherokee, but they're actually bringing it back for its 6th generation in 2026. It looks stupid, it looks like an EV, but at least it's back, right? There's also a new Acura ADX, which is a new entry-level Acura by Acura. So, that should be interesting. One thing I don't like is like the DX. Like, we have the MDX, which is a new EV SUV that stole the name from the previous Honda Crosstour variant. And now we have the ADX, which just doesn't really sound like an Acura. Like the Acura DX doesn't make sense. Anyway, yeah, nice car, should be good. More entry-level stuff we can get, the better it will get. There's also the 2025 Ford F-150s. They are getting cheaper, but there's a catch. First of all, Ford's iDrive system, which is, like assistive driving and all that crap, it's now a subscription service rather than, the traditional way of doing things, which is just, it's on the car. So you will have to pay a subscription service if you want those services when buying your Ford. And also, there's a lot less substance. They're taking some things out, not necessarily features, but air quotes features. There's a difference between features and luxury, right? Luxury is not a touchscreen. Luxury is not piano black plastic. Luxury is wood and leather. That's luxuriousness, right? The other ones are just air quotes features, if you want them. And features are subjective. And yeah, so essentially the car is just losing a whole lot of substance and becoming a hollow plastic thing like every other car. So, still better. Still better. Still good. Also, Jack Doherty has crashed his McLaren while reading, texting, and driving. I'm not going to say too much about this. Idiot. Florida has a lot of highways. And it rains, a lot over here. A lot. And my car has hydroplaned before, but you don't, he immediately just turned it, and then the wheels, Yeah, if you look at his driving, it wasn't very good. He started to hydroplane, and then he immediately just jerked the steering wheel and then freed the front wheels from the ground as well, and then the entire car was just off the ground and then started to spin, and then hit the barrier. I mean, what do you expect, right? So, yeah, you can watch the Penguin Z0 video on that. In fact, I'm actually watching him.
For adult content is...
Thank you. Anyway, just... sad. Volvo is backing down from their 2030 all-EV commitment for hybrid approach. Now, if you don't know, Volvo has been very slow to everything. Volvo's first hybrid was in 2016 with not a small little hybrid. Like, remember, this just shows you how uncompetitive Volvo is when it comes to new technology. The only reason they ever did the 2030 EV commitment was to get the government California to shut the hell up about it. But Volvo has always been kind of slow on the uptake. Remember in like 2010 when all these different mainstream car manufacturers started making these little economical hybrid cars that look like the Prius? Think Insight, think Bolt, think Volt, all those things. Volvo didn't make their first ever hybrid until 6 years later, and it wasn't a small little cute little car like that. It was the Volvo XC90, their biggest SUV. So it's good that they're going for an all-hybrid approach, and I really never expected them to do a 2030 all-EV commitment. It took them like 16 years. The original technology came out in 2000, right? It was approved. Toyota won, all that crap happened in 2000. And then it started to get mainstream over the next 10 years. It took Volvo 16 years from the technology being out and being aware of it to actually make one of their own. So I'm not expecting that they're going to jump into EVs, right? 2025, Volvo XC90 first look. This luxury SUV change is overrated. I mean, is it surprising? Essentially what they're doing, they're putting a different grille on it, woo, giving it a different interior, woo, and then similar specs and similar everything. Doesn't really matter at all. So, yeah. Also, Toyota pushes back on EV production plans in America. Again, if this doesn't prove it, what does? Car companies, it's not financially good for them to make EVs. EVs are costly to make, right? And they don't sell that much on them unless they use other cost-cutting measures, like not making them in the U.S., like Toyota, right? Or making them a stupid crossover, where they essentially just make their cheapest, smallest, lightest car into an SUV. They mold it taller into an SUV so that everyone will, fangirl over it and buy it, right? Think Nissan Kicks. Just a Versa, but still. So it's not surprising that Toyota will not be making them in the U.S., So, surprise, I guess. There's also a new Toyota SFR sports car that has been SFR sports car that has had the Mazda Miata directly in its sights. Now, Toyota and Mazda have been friends for a while, and I highly doubt that this is anything serious, like Toyota's seriously gunning for the Miata. But it's pretty neat. One thing that I don't like is the hump here. It just looks stylistically weird. Thanks, Motor Trend, for the prediction. It's not bad, actually. I mean, it looks pretty good here. I would love to, like I said, I think, even with the GR86 and BRZ, we have not had a light, fun sports car since, like, the Honda Del Sol, right? Think Honda Del Sol. Think, not even Mitsubishi Eclipse. Think, like, small Honda Del Sol. We haven't had that since, like, 2005. And now we're finally getting it back again, and I'm very excited. You may also notice how long the hood is for crash safety reasons and how thick the doors are going to be. That's every car nowadays, so what can I say? The rest of this is just Toyota news. So if you were interested in more world news, remember, all these articles are just little pee-wee articles, so there's not a lot for me to do. A lot of them are Motor Trend, because I like Motor Trend. Toyota's plug-in hybrid vehicles and RAV4 drop the Prime names. Essentially, Toyota will no longer be calling their vehicles the Prime rather than plug-in hybrid. Now, the Prime vehicle, or the Prime name, first debuted in 2016 with the debut of the 4th generation Toyota Prius. The Prime was suggested to mean more than plug-in, as the Prius was already called the plug-in since 2012, right? 2016, they changed it to Prime, because they wanted it to invoke emotions of excitement, right? It's in its prime. The car is in its best form. That's what they wanted it to sound like. And all it just gave buyers confusion. Like, is this a plug-in hybrid or is it a Prime? And then, if you looked at the Google search things, for trending there for a little bit was, what's the difference between a Prius Prime and a Prius plug-in, right? Nothing. They're the exact same vehicles, just called something different. So Toyota's finally fixing this up. We've seen other car companies do this before, like Kia with their new stupid, awful logo, the KN car. KN car was trending on Google for a very long time after that switch, and Prime was the difference between a Toyota Prime vehicle and plug-in hybrid was trending for a while too. So just another stupid choice from another car company. Toyota also admits new Tacoma has serious transmission issues. Toyota is getting worse. We can't, I would really love to put this entire Toyota matter in a closet and never open it again. But we have to admit, right, Toyota their quality is slipping. Their prices are going higher and their sales are remaining strong, but still, they're slipping a little bit recently, and the Tacoma sucks. The new Tacoma, it sucks. The transmission sucks. They had multiple issues with it, not as much as the Tundra, but still, many, many issues. Don't call it a recall, but Toyota will replace the 8-speed transmission in certain Tacomas. Bad transmission, great vehicle. That's all I have to say. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and